Hey guys, so in today's video, we'll be talking about boosting your low job success score. And that's the topic for the day because in my last few consultations, it has come up quite a lot. Freelancers have expressed wanting to create new Upwork profiles because they have a low job success score. Now, here's the problem that is against Upwork's terms of service, and you will get banned for sure. On the bright side, you don't even need to do that because it can totally be fixed, and that's what I'm talking about in today's video. So stay tuned. A low job success score is not a death sentence like most people think. But before we even talk about how to fix it and what to do about it, please understand that it is also not getting five-star reviews over and over again. It's more than that, and there are five things that you need to work on if you're trying to like boost your job success score basically. The most critical thing in GSS recovery is the scoring timeline. Well, the most critical thing to understand is the recovery timeline. Upwork calculates your GSS based on three timelines, which is the last 6 months of work, the last 12 months of work, and then the last 24 months of work. Then they display whichever score is highest on your profile. So whenever you have a job success score, just know that that was the highest score within the last 6, 12, and 24 months. So let's say when within the 6 month timeline, your GSS was 92%. Within the 12-month timeline, it was 91%. And within the 24-month timeline, it was 98%. Your GSS is going to be 98% because that is the highest GSS of the three critical timelines. Now, let's talk about the actual five factors that affect your GSS score. The first one is client feedback, and this I believe is the most popular one that everyone knows about. Okay, so you need good contracts, but what makes a contract good in Upwork's eyes? First, client feedback, which is the public feedback, and then the one that most freelancers overlook, which is private feedback. When a contract ends, clients rate you in two ways: the public feedback, which is the one that's left on your profile for other people to see. So, other clients who are looking for freelancers to do their work can see your public feedback. It is right there for everyone to see. That is the first layer of feedback. And then there's the private feedback, which is between the client and Upwork only. So, this is where the problem happens. Someone gets a 5-star review that says, "Great freelancer, experienced graphic designer, would love to work with him again." Public feedback, amazing. But then in the private feedback, the client leaves something with a maybe a more negative or neutral sentiment, doesn't sound as exciting as the public feedback, and maybe they rate you a 3 out of 5 for communication or a 2 for cooperation. Now, your private feedback weighs heavily on your JSS, and that is very likely going to drop your job success score. The private feedback categories are skills, quality, availability, communication, deadlines, and cooperation. This means you need to nail all six to get maximum benefits from that contract. So if you're rebuilding, understand that every single contract matters and you need to treat every client like they are your only client, even if they're not. You need to treat it like that is going to be your make or break contract. The second factor to consider when trying to grow your job success score is the contract value. Now, this is where strategic recovery happens because not all contracts are equal in Upwork's eyes, and I will explain. Higher paying contracts carry more weight in the GSS system. Now, these are the buckets or groups of how they are weighed. Jobs that pay between $1 to $250 carry a weight of 1. Now, jobs that pay $251 to $1,000 carry a weight of 1.25, and jobs that pay over $1,000 carry a weight of 1.5. So, again, here's an example. Two freelancers are trying to recover from low scores. Freelancer A takes a volume approach. They take 10 jobs at $100 each in 6 months. All 5-star reviews. Total earnings are $1,000. So the job carries a weight of 10, which is 10 jobs times 1.0, because 1.0 is the weight of jobs between $1 to $250. And this person has done jobs of $100 10 times. So that falls between the 1 point weight mark. So it's going to be 10 jobs times 1.0. So the weight of that freelancer's jobs will be 10. So freelancer B takes a different approach. Instead of doing the volume approach, they take the strategic approach. They take 5 jobs at $1,200 each in 6 months. All 5-star reviews, and their total earnings are $6,000 as opposed to freelancer A's $10,000. But the total weight here will be 7.5. Why? Because they have taken 5 jobs, right? So fewer jobs. But because of the value, the contract value of each one, which is 1,200, that puts it at the weight level of 1.5, because jobs above $1,000 carry a weight of 1.5. So it's going to be 5 times 1.5, which is going to give you 7.5. Freelancer B's job success score will recover faster than freelancer A's job success score, even though freelancer B did fewer jobs. Why? Because the contract value carries more weight. So, this is something you need to understand when you're trying to fix your GSS. It's not about just doing random jobs and picking all these low hanging fruits that cost a dollar and a dime because you're trying to recover faster. It's not about bidding low and accepting less because you want to quickly execute the job and grow your job success score. Understand that one job that costs $1,500 will impact your GSS more than 5 jobs that cost $150. Now, something I will suggest, because I understand that bigger jobs are harder to land, especially when your job success score is low. But what you should do is that when you write your proposals, do not focus on deliverables. Focus on ROI. Focus on the return on investment. That's what you should really angle on when you're pitching to clients. Well, no matter who you are, but especially if you're trying to grow your job success score. Something else you can do is to target established businesses that have budgets, not startups, and then also create packages that naturally cost more. Upsell, include add-ons that you know are very important. Do not put them in your main package, but have them as an add-on so that you get the clients to pay you more and help you grow your GSS as well. Now, the third factor to help you grow your GSS is the contract length. I've talked about client feedback, I've talked about the contract value, and then now the contract length. Let's address this. Every 3 months that a contract stays open with feedback, it counts as an additional job towards your GSS calculation. So the bonuses basically stack up as the contract continues. Plus, any contract lasting 90 days, even without feedback, counts as a successful job. So you can have one successful job regardless of feedback, but again, depending on duration, contract length. And then you can have an additional job towards your GSS calculation. But remember, for a 3 month contract to count as an additional job towards your GSS, you must be receiving payment on it. So it's not about those dormant contracts that you've not closed out. It's about the ones that you actively keep engaging in and you receive payments. Maybe you have like milestones and you complete a milestone every 2 weeks, or you get a bonus every other month. But it's a contract that you are consistently earning on, not an inactive one and not a dormant one. That is the only way a 3 month contract will count as an extra job. So here's a more detailed example for you to describe what the 3 months and 90-day rule is when it comes to contract length. Someone is recovering from a 76% JSS, right? Then they land an ongoing social media management role, which is for $1,200. So with that monthly rate, that job is weighed at 1.5 because it's over $1,000. And then the contract runs for 9 months, for example. Now, here's what happens to their job success score. First, the contract has a base weight of 1.5 for being over $1,000. At month 3, they get a bonus weight of 1.5. Why? because you're actively earning on that contract. You're getting $1,200 every month. And remember, I said after 3 months of ongoing earnings, it counts as one successful job. So you get a bonus weight of 1.5 at the end of month three. At 6 months, which is another 3 months, you get a bonus weight of 1.5. So you understand, at 9 months, which is another 3 months, you get another bonus weight of 1.5. So that means that that one client is generating significant GSS weight because it's a long term contract. And even if the client never formally leaves feedback, it counts as a successful project because it passed the 90 days mark. So that's basically how this works. So remember that you only need 6 months of good work to significantly recover your job success score. If you can land 1 to 2 long term clients within that period, they will carry massive weight. Now, if you're thinking of how to pitch this to clients, how to um, request long term projects as opposed to one time projects, here's how I'd go about it. I will personally propose ongoing work instead of one offs. So, oh, I'm happy to do this logo for you, but how about your brand identity? I can also do this, I can also do that. Here's an example of a brand identity package I've done for a client. Although it costs 2 times more than what this logo costs, here's the return on investment for my client. Their X went from Y to Z. You get the drift. That's how I'm going to try to upsell and pitch for more. And then when you conclude a contract, you're going to say something like, I really enjoyed working on this project and I learned so much working with you. Is there anything else you need? What else can I do for you? That is if you've thought about it and you can't really think of anything else to offer them, then you can ask them where they need help. You can also propose being on a retainer or to do like a training once a month for the team. Again, that's gonna come at a cost, right? Depending on what you do, if you need to train, or you can give them a monthly report or do a monthly audit at a cost for them. Again, depending on where you work and what you do. So it's up to you to figure out how this setup will work in your niche. Now, the fourth factor to consider when trying to boost your JSS is repeat clients. This is a no brainer, but we'll talk about it. Upwork sees repeat clients as proof that you are delivering exceptional work and they reward it. If there are two freelancers with identical stats, but one person has repeat clients, that person's JSS will be higher. So you charge the same hourly rate, you have the same number of contracts, but let's say person A has 10 contracts, person B has 10 contracts, but of these 10 contracts, three of them are repeat jobs from the same client. Person B is going to have a higher GSS. So, some of the things I said when I talked about the previous point still apply here. Follow up with clients after every successful project. So, let's say 1 week after the contract has been concluded, you send them a message. Say, it was great working with you and I would love to help you with future projects. Keep me at top of your mind when you have something new. That's one way. Week 4, you can check in and say, hey, just checking in to see how that deliverable is working out for you, or how that thing, you say whatever is working out for you. Let me know if you need any adjustments. That's what you do like at week 4. Then let's say at the third month, you make a proactive offer to them. Just look up their industry, look up the trending news, just check for something online and then send them a message saying, oh, hi, Marcus, I noticed this trend in your industry. Would you like me to blah, blah, blah? And blah, blah, blah means like a related service, right? And ask them if they're interested. So at the 6 month mark, you do a seasonal check in and you say something like, hello, I hope business is going well. I have some availability coming up. So please let me know if you need my service. Take care. The problem is that most freelancers just do their job, close out, and move on to the next one. The easiest client to get is a client you already had before. I don't know if you guys know that. And it's called freelancing for a reason. There are no rules. Just do your best to squeeze all the juice you can out of it. That's what you should be doing as a smart and proactive freelancer. Now, the final factor, factor number five, that affects your job success score is how you close out contracts. The way you close your contracts affects your job success score. So make sure that you are doing it right. Mutual closure, where you both agree to close the contract and exchange feedback, is the best. You closing it is neutral. A client closing it is risky because you don't know what you're going to say, you don't know what feedback you're going to get. An abandoned contract where there is no closure, it just sits there, is dead weight. And disputed contracts are the worst because they damage your JSS for up to 24 months. So always aim for the one that gives you the best outcome. So again, as always, here's an example. Someone finishes an $800 contract in March, client is happy, but neither person closes the contract and then it just sits there. 6 months later, the client randomly closes it but doesn't leave any feedback because the details are very fuzzy now. They don't really remember much about the contract. They don't really remember the excitement they felt at the point of, concluding the contract at first, or the contract closing out and then paying you. So they just close it to clean house, basically. But again, because details are fuzzy, they leave a 3-star private feedback or just something that you do not want happening. Your JSS is going to tank because of that, and you don't want that. And this only happened because you let the contract linger. Understand that clients do not owe you that. What they owe you is paying you for your services. So you need to make sure that the things that are beneficial to you, that you fight for those things. Do not leave it up to clients, do not leave it up to anyone. You have to take charge of it and own it. So please avoid that as much as you can. Do not optimize for money so much that you forget other things, because if your profile starts making other clients stay away from you, then the whole purpose is defeated because nobody's hiring you anymore because your GSS is a jump scare. Now, here's what I'll do to avoid this. As soon as the contract is over, as soon as the payment is made, express to them how much you loved and enjoyed working with them. If it was a tough experience, they may feel like you are patronizing them by saying, oh, you enjoyed it, but say, you learned a lot and you're grateful to them for the experience. I'm sure it's still going to, it's a nicer way to say, because if it was a bad experience and you're like, oh, I enjoyed working with you, it was great, as a client, I'll feel like you're patronizing me, and that might actually get you a bad feedback. So just tell them it was a learning experience for you. You absolutely still want to work with them again in the future because you understand how they work now, even though you're not going to work with them in the future. Tell them you thank them for the learning opportunity. You thank them for exposing you to, a wealth of knowledge that you didn't have before. Just say something along those lines if it was a bad experience. If not, just bother them up and tell them you loved the experience. It was great. It was amazing. Tell them that feedback from clients like them, helps you to get other clients. So you would close this contract out and you're definitely going to leave your feedback as well because you really enjoyed your experience, and you would appreciate it if they also left you one back. It is against the TOS to tell them to give you good feedback. So do not say, oh, I'll give you 5 stars, give me 5 stars back. Don't say that. But just do it exactly as I've said it, and that's a safer way for you to get that feedback and close out the contract. Understand that once a contract is closed and feedback is not exchanged within 14 days, then you are no longer allowed to leave feedback. So that is why I do not like to wait. I like to ask clients to close out the contract, or I check after 3 days, after 7 days, after 10 days, but I close it and I leave them the feedback, but I just ask them to please leave me one back. But understand that if you don't do this within 14 days, you lose that opportunity completely. So again, it's up to you to be proactive about it. There you have it. A low GSS is not a death sentence. It is a 6 month recovery plan. The 5 factors that affect your GSS, which I talked about, are client feedback, contract value, contract length, repeat clients, and contract endings. Focus on these for 6 months and you will recover. Now, if you found this helpful, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It tells YouTube that you love my content and you want to see more of it. Thank you and take care.